máa gbàdúrà ẹni àgbà tó mòye ẹ jọ̀wọ́ ẹ tọ́mọ sọ́dọ̀ òtítọ́.
Then there was a hammer. I think those who built the house left the thing there. I tried to force a hole through the roof because of that. I understand we're staying in the roof. It was later we knew. But the reason we decided on the house was because it had a strong roof. Now the strength of the roof became disadvantage.
Yeah.
So, and it was afternoon. No food, no water, now no clean air. And then I heard, my wife said, I heard a sound on the roof. I thought it was hallucination. Then somebody said, Professor. I said, yes. This is Placido. I said, Placido. How are you? He said, you are here? He brought the boat. He was our neighbor.
Okay.
To see whether he could rescue anything from his house. But he couldn't even enter because the whole place had been taken. So he was going back 2 blocks from us. He said, I took the hammer. When we could no longer, I had no strength to shout. So I took the hammer and I was knocking it on whatever metal object there was there.
And he heard.
And he heard. He said, that's human sound. So he traced the thing back. He had 3 life vests. I mean, everything that I only fitted in Ikere-Ekiti. One for himself.
One for each other.
How come he didn't come with only one vest? How come he didn't ignore her? You know, he said, so I fitted the thing. I told my wife, do the one for the back. I fitted her own. I said, let me go first. If I don't make it, take care of the children. And I dived in my bedroom, into the ocean water. When I got to the outside door, and he kept on saying, Professor, he's a Cuban-American, Placido Saballo. His English is very small. He said, gas small, gas finish, we perish. I kept on trying. Because of water pressure, the door wouldn't open. I gave it the last push, until last pull, and one of the hinges gave a crack. So I tried to, so I left the place, my shirt was torn, but I made enough room for myself to, and then enough room for my wife. So when she came eventually, the 2 of us got into the boat, and we kept on looking for where to go in the city.
At least you are now on top of the water.
On top of the water.
I'm going.
On top of the water. So then they said, down the street, the most famous street in New Orleans, there was a church, St. Raphael's Church, Catholic church. They have a 2-story building. So Saballo said, it appeared people were going there. So we got there. There were people quite all right. So they put a ladder in our boat. We climbed because the first floor was already overtaken by water. And when we got there, standing room only. Like suddenly we were just like this. In fact, about 10 minutes after we got there, they brought the corpse of an old woman. So I then told them, it is so hot here, she will decay, decompose very rapidly. Let's put her on the ledge of the window, here, outside, there. It was as if there was no government. America couldn't send any helicopter because their best helicopters were in Iraq. So you see, madness, political madness is universal. Yeah. So it was about the second day when they then came, and we were moved to about 2 or 3 evacuation centers before we eventually got a place on the plane. And we ended up in Birmingham, Alabama, in the Red Cross Center. That was where I had a bath, the first time in 7 days. That's why we had something to eat, really good meal. But the first thing I did was, do you have a computer here? And they said, yeah, there's a computer waiting. Because I didn't want to miss my Tribune column. And I made sure I did. In spite of that, I didn't.
You wrote that column.
How the thing came, I wouldn't know. If you ask me for the title now, I don't know, but I know. I knocked the thing off there. 2 days later, a young lady came and spoke to my wife. She said, she and her partner would like to adopt us. Yeah, so she took us to, they took us to their house, and they gave us their basement, and they said, what do you need? I said, first thing I need now is a computer, a laptop. So they brought me a laptop. It was, the first thing I wrote in 8 days was, I'm alive. That was where I told the story of how we got there. At that time, the world knew I was in New Orleans, and incidentally, Professor Shurika was one of the first people to react, called colleagues at the university in Nevada to reserve a place for me. But those people didn't know. I had no address. My address was underwater in New Orleans, so they didn't know how to contact me. So another university that gave me an honorary doctorate about how many? About 3 years earlier. That's Northeast. They got through to me through Professor Irele. So that's where we went. But it was tough. But we enjoyed the hospitality of human beings. You know, this is why it's Igbo, it's Hausa, it's Urobo, it's Efik, it's white, it's black. That's not my life. You know, Americans, black and white, young and old, took care of us. Yes, donated money. There was, I had just returned from Slovenia, where some of my poems were translated into Slovenia, and I had a really wonderful time there. Those ones heard, and they gathered, all of them, they heard a concert in my, not just in my honor, but my relief. You know, they began that concert with Slovenian music. Then there was an interlude. They played African music.
Oh, wow.
And the last, New Orleans jazz.
Wow.
They sent me money, and each of them signed their book and sent to me.
Wow.
You know, so everywhere it was from friends, from. So this was Katrina, and so when it took me 6 months to be able to do a book on it. City Without People, the Katrina poems. And one of the abiding poems in that collection is titled People Are My Clothes. Tí mo bá bojú ẹ̀yìn tí mo rẹ́ ní mi, ènìyàn láṣọ mi, ara mi, inú mi á dùn, ara mi á yá gágá, ènìyàn láṣọ mi, and I listed them. Professor Achebe sent me a card from Bard College, where he was, through the agency of our good friend, he's dead now, Don Bones, poet, and friend of humanity. And Professor Achebe sent me a copy of his collected poems. I didn't even know that a book like that was coming. It was new then.
Wow.
And the autograph said, Dear Niyi, what the floods took away, friendship will restore.
Wonderful.
And sent money along with it.
Wow.
Yeah. So in the end, triumph of a kind. Because it was traumatic, and it's still traumatic. I still dream of it. But human kindness, compassion, alleviated our suffering to a very, very large extent. I remember a young boy who said he sent his own bit from Bradford, UK. Said, our teacher has just taught us your poem. I think the poem must be Not My Business or something. And we were all looking forward to seeing you. We have prepared all our questions. Now, my parents are not rich, so I don't have anything to send you. But this I send you in the name of God. All you lost will be restored to you.
Wow.
You will live on something that was a white student.
Wow.
Yeah. So Katrina Ango, àwọn èèyàn wá ní nǹkan tí ìbápa tí ò bá pa àjẹkù lágbára sí. Yes. So that's really it. Every year now, because I'll be going because you don't. If I had been the only person there, or if my wife had been only, would have died.
Would have come.
Because eventually, when the sea settled in New Orleans for months, because there was nowhere for it to go, the water didn't recede. Eventually, when it left, and they were picking up corpses all over the place. Where my wife and I were, that was the place where they found the largest number of casualties. Because the water rose and choked them where they were. Why we escaped it is this. You see, because I didn't want to live on any permanent basis in the UK. We didn't have a house. In the US, we didn't have a house. But rent kept on going up. We then decided to buy a house. That house, I think we were spending the second year there. But before we bought it, I was hard-nosed. Said, we are going to buy an elevated house. Yeah, there were so many options. No, it must be elevated by at least 3 feet.
Okay.
That was what saved us. Yeah, because the house was elevated 3 feet, we had a 3-foot advantage over where we were.
You did this because you knew the history of the place.
Yes, yes. I said we're surrounded by water. I'm Osundare, and I know water has memory. Yeah, water is the greatest healer in the world, but water could be vengeful too. Yeah. And Prophet Niyi sent me, when he sent me a note, eventually, Ayorumbo. And he said, I have just driven by Amadu Bello way, and I was reading about you, and I just remembered. It's just a matter of time before we too have our own Katrina. So all these things I'm hearing about Lekki, about Ajah, and so on, Rofo, Onira. So this has made.
Thank you, sir. So when you were talking earlier, you said something about this wasn't the university that I left. This wasn't the university that I joined, or that I. This is, and you've said this several times. This was definitely not the Nigeria that I grew up in. You've said it several times.
Yes.
We don't want to. We're not casting people. Can we agree that we have all contributed to the destruction of this place, to making our people very backward? You mentioned earlier how the policy of one government over a few years created a generation of Yoruba elite. Not just Yoruba, because many people benefited from the
people came from the east.
Yes.
They came from, yeah.
And then we had. The Awolowo government had no way of knowing that the people that they were helping to go to school would not turn out to generally turn out to be those who would then continue that tradition or continue to contribute to the progress of their society. I'm just saying that broadly. I don't mean it in...
Yeah, sure.
Because when the country is not doing very well, it's not about something that is outside of the people. It's the people, is not.
You are right.
It's the people, is not. It's who is responsible for the state of our universities now, for the state of the curriculum that our children are following. This curriculum doesn't reflect our present needs or our future. Because I was reading about people always talk about these Nordic countries, how the Nordic countries seem to have an idea. They're always thinking about the future. We don't seem to be preparing our children for the future. One kid came to me one day and said, he was writing his project on my music, and then I said, well, I want to read your intro. What is it? Intro and literature review. The intro, the chapter 1, chapter 2.
Yes.
So he sent it to me. I read it, and he started by saying, drama began in Greece. I said, what? Who's teaching you this? At the university, they told you this. I said, that's what. And he mentioned the teacher's name. This is what they teach. I said, well, I know what they mean. This is very Eurocentric. But have we not reached a point where we can start to indigenize these teachings, where we can start to... so, if people are feeling us politically, people are feeling us in the university system as well. Have we come to a point where we need curriculum renewal in this country?
Absolutely. Now, your question, as usual, is multifaceted and loaded. Last year, this past year, the major universities in this country were under closure for 8 months. 8 months. 4 months. 4 months short of 1 year. And the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria didn't say one word during that period. And his Minister of Education didn't care a hoot. I mean, what else are we looking for? Education. That is the most important, that's the most important entity in any country's life. You can't make progress without education, without enlightenment. That's why I said in that point that I mentioned, I said, those who do not know how to think have now become our leaders of thought. And of course I quoted leaders of thought because that's what they usually say, oh yeah, we'll be the leaders of thought. Nigeria does not take education seriously. Our students know less and less and less now. Their students are going to know less and less and lesser. Their students are going to... Ignorance grows. Yeah. Something, yes. Yeah, it really bothers me, the state of our universities, the physical decay, the physical decay. Time there was, when we were undergraduates at the University of Ibadan, 1969 to 1970, even up to the time I became a lecturer in 1974, if you were coming from town with your gong and so on, and the moment you were about half a mile from the university, you wouldn't need anybody to tell you to University. That was then. When the town knew the value of the gown, and the gown also knew some of the virtues of the town. Now it's the other way around. The first thing that strikes you in any of our universities today is noise. These are the things I mentioned in my valedictory lecture. In a place so afflicted with noise, how can the philosopher, the musicologist, the musician, the poet, the scholar, how can they stand and stare when all the trees have been destroyed? In what shade would they be? 1996, I'm not sure now whether it's 95 or 94 or 96, I was head of the Department of English, and I was also a columnist for Newswatch. At that time there was no internet, so I finished my column and I wanted to take it to Lagos. As I descended the stairs near the reception, the Potter's Lodge, I saw about 4 men cutting the largest and tallest tree in the Faculty of Arts then. And I ran off right straight to them, and I said, "Come, why are you doing this?" surprised. They said, one of them didn't even look. He didn't know who he was talking to, and he said, Apanyi langeni, sorry, sir. At that time, it was a steam, steam saw or whatever the name they call it, that they were using. They had gone beyond the core of the tree, which means they had killed it. All that was left was the key to fall, and the tree did fall eventually. I told the driver, I said, you wait. I went back to my office and did a memo to the Vice Chancellor, Professor Niyi. Said that all the important universities in the world would tell the history of those places by the age of their trees, sometimes the age, so and so, and the management of the trees. Mr. Vice Chancellor, how you feel standing in front of Kuti Hall and seeing the registrar's house on the other end of Niger Road without any encumbrance, without any disturbance, because it's the trees that are there now that will prevent you from. He said, yeah, this is how deserts are made. But I wasn't the only one. My Egbon, Drakiola, historian, passed, is dead now. God bless his soul. And my teacher, my revered teacher, Professor Niyi, the two joined me. We went to see the Vice Chancellor. We spoke to the Director of Works and so on and so forth. It was then we were told that a contract had been awarded for the cutting of trees on campus. I said, why? They said the trees are falling and they're damaging houses. I said, because they have not been managed. It's like saying, my child is falling sick all the time, let me kill it. I said, Fortunately, they stopped it.
In almost every book, even in this, The Eye of the Earth, they talk a lot about protecting the environment.
Yes.
All the time. You even went as far as making a whole book. Where is that book? Huh? I thought I saw it earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Where is it? Give me that. See? A whole book. This is your most recent book of poetry. A whole book on the environment. So we should all be environmentalists.
Oh, well, if that's the name they call lovers of the environment, yes. As Muhammad Ali once said, when they said, oh, you are being cantankerous. And he said, what's the meaning of
whatever it is.
Whatever it is, if it is good, I am. Yeah, if it is good, then I am. My brother, what can one do with what I've been saying all along? My father was a farmer. We knew the difference between the abundance of rain and the scarcity of it. Yeah, we knew when the Ocean River was in full flow and you gave it respect. We knew when it had withdrawn because of the drought. You know, we knew how famines were made. Because if the rain doesn't fall the right time, there will be drought and then there will be no food. One of the deities worshipped in Ikere in those days was the deity of the earth. You know, Ijogun Jodem, Allah le lo baisa, Allah le, Ale is Ile. Yeah, it's a goddess. In Achebe's Things Fall Apart, Ani is the goddess of the earth. Look at the way they protected the earth. The piece of wick was in honor of the goddess of the earth. We have to pet her. In my place, in my own quarter of Ikere, Oshun goddess is called Iyekaire. Iyekaire means the mother we pet, the mother we take care of. we have to take care. It's the same thing, the same principle in Igbo land. If you have to take her for her to be able to take care of you. Native Americans say, we do not inherit this earth from our children. We do not inherit this earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. Yes, I mean, the same thing we discover in the sayings and the wisdom of the Maori in New Zealand, or the Yanomamo in the Amazon forest. Our earth is one. There is only one sky above our heads. The oceans are not so many. I think they control 70% of the water surface, and they wash our shores. So it is extremely important. I have a pet saying, a pet feeling. If you don't love your neighbor, it is not likely that you will love the tree. Yeah, one of the poems in this book is about the trees. Maybe, in fact, I could read it. It's a very, very, very short tree. It's about the last poem. There's a whole section on trees. Tree talk. Tree talk. Iroko greets the oak. Obeche salutes the elm. The mahogany hails the maple. Araba trades tall tales with the red wood. Green salutations, anxious whispers. Why are so-called humans so cruel with their axe? The olive tree asks the cedar. Human, did you say? Retorts the barigona. Can't you see what they do to their fellow humans? Yes, if you don't love human beings, you are not likely to love the environment. Now, I have a stake. I have children. I have a stake in the future of the earth. I have children. I have friends. I have junior ones. I have co-artists and so on. There are scientists. We all have a stake in the survival of planet Earth. So it has always been on my mind. Virtually all my books have one thing or another to do with nature. There is an essay in my forthcoming book where I'm talking about the need. In fact, not just the need, the inevitability of the artist loving nature. Because we depend on nature. Whether you are a singer, or you are a painter, or a sculptor, or a writer, yeah, nature has always provided the greatest impetus. At times nature is the muse for all of us. Where will the birds be when all the trees are gone? What about the air we breathe? The trees purify that air for us by absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. That's why when the Amazon was on fire, was burning about 4 years ago, the president of France, Mr. Emmanuel Macron, shouted, said, the lungs of our planet are on fire. I used his statement as a kind of reference in the poems I did here. Actually, that fire inspired the section on trees in the new book. What I call trees. And what I've done there is to make the trees talk like human beings, so that we really know what we are doing to them. I have not just personified them, I have animated them. And I'm talking about the trees of the rainforest, beginning from the Amazon in Brazil to the rainforest in Costa Rica, then Indonesia, Malaysia, Central Africa. Does anybody know that the Congo has the largest portion of the African rainforest? And then where we are here, holding this talk, is part of the region of the rainforest. It is extremely important. When I'm coming from Europe now, I'm in the air, or coming from wherever, and I cast my eyes down through the oval windows of the airplane. It takes about 3 hours to cross the Sahara Desert. It used not to be so long. The rainforest is now, as I said in one of the poems, is now like an eyebrow. An eyebrow on the face of
the desert.
Of the desert. Of whatever is left. The rainforest is disappearing. The Lake Chad is drying up. And you know what happens when in America, the Arizona River is drying up. It feeds about how many? Must be up to 10 states with their agriculture. So what I see, what bothers me is the madness of human beings. I used to call it naivety. Now it's madness. Because it is so obvious that we cannot survive without our planet, without our Earth. And yet you find some people denying that there is something called climate change. We just mentioned Katrina, which nearly took my life. Took the life of over 2,000 human beings in New Orleans and along the Mississippi coast. We are being impacted negatively by all these things, and some people are still denying, particularly the conservatives. They say there is no. It's liberal noise, because everything is going well. Things are not going well at all. Climate change is not an illusion. It is something that's happening, and I think more and more people are talking about it now, especially in the developed parts of the world. Not all of them. We need to copy a lot from the Nordic countries. Oh yes, their conscientiousness, social conscientiousness. Now, that is one part of the West where they take the greatest care of the welfare of their citizens. Are you surprised then that they have extended that welfare to their environment? America just sounds as if they live in a jungle, inexhaustible jungle, where food will always flow, where the rivers are there, they can't dry up, and the trees, when you cut them today, they will grow up tomorrow.
Baba, I think that is the madness of the people in our country, in Nigeria.
Oh.
I think that because everybody is cutting these trees. They say because there are no houses, well, the rent is too high, so I better go and build my own house, small shack in the bush somewhere, and on developed part of town. And the first thing they do when they get there is clear everything. And I've read about how in Japan or even other parts of Asia, how people build around what is in the natural environment.
Yes.
You don't destroy everything and put your cement there.
That's how you get the equilibrium, existential equilibrium. Now, because we've been out of this house for a long time, termites, this place is very rich in termites, have eaten some of the window frames. I was talking to my carpenter, how do we replace them? He said, Oga, Kotisigi. It struck me like thunderbolt. Kotisigi, that is, there's no wood.
There's no wood.
They've exhausted all the wood. When we were building this house, the only one that we are still building it, We will season the wood for 6 months. There was no time we lacked, and we said, we got to change. Things have changed.
Things have changed.
Oh, the Bible. Oh, the Quran. Traditional religion. What about Ifa? Ifa is so sophisticated. It is so multidisciplinary. Mathematics. But interaction, I think quite because I'm very close to the graduacy. One of the reasons, the many reasons they like your music is because of the money root. The indigenous part of it. In fact, 2019, the intersection of poetry and music. So I was already. You can't know any arankaton feel like Olo, but Olo the Jango his father is a teacher. Tung be Babao. How come this person is younger than you, he knows all this, but all you're telling me is hallelujah, something. Yeah, it is important. Yeah, it is important. More interview can like where only can sort of Nollywood, scums and comes African magic, either can demonize the traditional religion or Tobama low one shilo. I mean, most study grammar, drama, plot. Tobama and magic me. Magic in me. Magic is a pataki. We are artists, but we have to go beyond that. Science is called. Àwọn èèyàn gbé èèyàn sínú kìíní gbóyà, wọ́n gbé èèyàn lọ moon. Neil Armstrong ṣe moonwalk, ó tẹ̀ tún di dance style. Tí James Brown àti gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe pé kìíní kan. Ẹ̀rọ pé jókòó sínú bíi kò mọ 2 + 2 is equal to 4 ló fi ṣe gbogbo yẹn. So Ishepo, which is why I keep referring to it, reflexivity language, because you are asking me, I'm answering, but I also, yes, what, because Pataki go when you buy it. Our students, me come back introduce the township in my prime, you know, let's say cutting, let me cut him. We talked about it, workshop, poem, mobile. I was growing. So you can grow through yours too. Monopoly. No. I think you resonate so well. It's my generation, sir. So pretend. What do you mean? I kept on asking rhetorical questions. Only history. We merely know us as the entertainment generation. I'm a Professor Andani, Professor of Archaeology, to go some time ago. But Edem, my impressed me. I mean, only it's my generation. Yeah. Entertainment, yes. The entertainment, Gani. You should Sonny Othello. Is this Othello? No, not Othello. It's the Prince of Denmark.
Not Hamlet.
Hamlet, bless your soul. The play is the thing with which to catch the king's conscience. One thing what she must of much not decide that if you can play. This is what we are doing, you know. So we were talking about trees and this campus. The first movement of this book, The Eye of the Earth, Forest Echoes. You were telling me about that place on campus. I had a place on campus too, and I still have it. In Bashishi Rest, me Wale came out of the Botanical Garden. Botanical Garden Multibele Forest Echoes. I wanted it very much. My rainforest experience, my Grambi, my Cosibini, my lolly twice a month. My law rainforest, but who come bear to boy. At the time, my fideva don't be impressions in at law, waking work it. I don't joke on 5:30, no touch, Danny, I wouldn't do more. One mark on the office, my timbers of Kunigaki law. In the meantime, my love and lost some more people. Although I nearly got killed there. Later, that's another story. An axe on my head. But Kishi, I want people do change. Team Dollar, Galopani, we go to fish them out. I had just come back from winning the Commonwealth Worship Prize freeway. And then I want to conquer military Kenya. But that's in Botanical Garden. Today, to read, I'm making a man sure that alone. You say you might go meal. You want one, you become a tigity, fall across the road. Right, Mojoko. I won't carry at you. One lover and one shake. After some time, I became part of the environment. One young million one shake. We touch the law. A green desire, perfumed memories. A leafy longing lure my wanderer feet to this forest of 1,000 wonders. A green desire for this petaled umbrella of simple stars and compound sounds. Suddenly, so soberly suddenly, the sky is tree high, and the horizon dips into an inky grove, like a masquerade scribbling lyric fear in the lines of festival streets. So, something for the trees here. When I was writing this, the sentiments I had, the sensibility also came to my mind, talking about trees. The botanical garden, when we were students, I had friends in the sciences. I used to go to see them, especially in botany, when they were labeling those trees. I would be laughing, and those the Oyibo people did all that, and I'm happy the university has been able to at least preserve that, because there was a time they were talking about logging or kiniko. Yeah, it's important. Trees, the grass which is under our feet,
So it's been nice. We've been here for quite a while. We've said we're going to talk for 30 minutes. We've talked for about 10.
About 10 minutes, can you see? Oh no, 10 minutes out of 30.
Something that's resonated throughout this talk, right from the beginning, is your undying belief in this country. You keep saying there's hope for Nigeria, there's hope for Nigeria. Where is this hope residing?
Oh, there is. Incidentally, shortly before you came, I was reading a new book they've just done for my friend Odia Ofemon, and he was telling because one of his monographs is titled "Taking Nigeria Seriously." Yes, because every country is a work in progress. There is nothing that could make a country great that we don't have in this country. I have gone up and down this country. Again, very short story. 1962, Amayi Grammar School, my little secondary school in a then little town of Ikere-Ekiti. Chief Adinora, principal, called us, said, "My boys, homely kept boys, we only have homely wit. If you're going to be leaders of this country tomorrow, you must know the country that you're going to lead. Tell your parents, we are going on excursion next year. 10 shillings each person." I told my father, he gave it to me. That morning, he put us in a Bedford lorry. Unipako? Yes. And the principal sent a message to the driver, said, "See me in my house with the boys before you go." So he was noting his time, preparing to go to school when we arrived. So he came out, he saw us. Yeah, your belt. Do this, do that. They called Abu. That's the name of the driver. Said, come. You can see them here tomorrow are tomorrow's professors, engineers, doctors, great musicians, philosophers, scientists, and so on. So drive carefully. And we went from Ikere-Ekiti to Owena, from Owena to Idare, from Idare to Akure, from Akure to Owo. Stayed for some time in Owo. Up to Benin, stayed some time in Benin. And then now headed east. Agbo, those long roads and so on. Asaba. And then we got to Niger Bridge. You know, we stopped, crossed it, Ocha City, Onitsha. Fantastic city. You know, we stayed a day and a night in Onitsha. From there to Unewi, from Unewi to Oka, and then University City, Suka. I tell people this. I saw the university in my life for the first time in Eastern Nigeria, Suka. Yes, this is why I said this country. Why should I say Igbo, Yoruba, whatever? No, we are one. First time. And I liked what I saw. I told my friend, look at the way people are carrying books. You know, we normally carry our books around, but the way they handed books, the lectures, I said, I want to be like this. I saw the University of Nigeria in Nsukka before I saw the University of Ibadan. Yes, we spent 2 days there, off to Calabar, from Calabar to Port Harcourt before coming back. When we came back, I said, Okukawa, one remaining step. Each of you should write an essay on what you have just seen. It was a school exercise then, but our principal had a vision. And we had a country then. No armed robbers, no. I remember when we got between Newi and one village, we were hungry. And it was night. The man had finished. This was in the heart of Igbo land. He had finished and was about to go away. When he saw us, he spoke Igbo. We didn't understand. And then he said, where are you people coming from? Our shirts were already dirty, white upon blue. Then the teacher who led us said, we were going to so place, but we are hungry. He said, I was just going home. You see, I had been eating all my food, but wait. He went to the neighbors, collect salt, collect this, collect that.
And he made food for you.
In Igbo land. Wow. Made food for us. Yes. And we kept on singing until we got to the next town about the song that man sang when we were eating.
Oh, wow. The Igbo song that he sang.
Yes. I've forgotten now because it was in Igbo. Our family, in my family, as I told you earlier on, there was the Okoye family, you know, Ejike, their son, and Nwango, the sister. It was from them that I ate ogbono, that I saw with them, that in their house, that I ate ogbono for the first time. You know, oro is what we call it. We eat the fluffy, the flesh, yes. And we threw away the seed. They would pick the seed, and then that was what produced ogbono. Mr. Okoye made hoes. He was from Oka, you know, the blacksmith's town. He made hoes. You know, there were the Igbira people too. They used the hoe. My father used the hoe. That was the country we had, you know, of human beings. You know, a lot of this hell. The source of a lot of this must go to our politicians. Yeah, as I said in my lecture yesterday, in the past we had leaders. Awolowo was a leader. Nkrumah was a leader. Nwalimu Nyerere was a leader. Now coming closer, Sankara was a leader. You know, Mandela, a leader. Augustino Neto, was a leader. Now, see what we have. You know, who are you going to, at the federal level, who will you call a leader here? Abacha, Babangida, Abdulsalam, and whatever, you know. We really have not had leaders of vision at the federal level, you know. Awolowo wrote a book which came out either 1947 or 1948, Path to Nigerian Freedom. It was there he said, a multi-ethnic and multi-linguistic country like Nigeria will need a federal system. We practiced the federal system up till January 15, 1966, when the first coup happened. And then they unitarized the government, made the center so unconscionably strong, and then to dictate to the state and so on, and they paralyzed the state, you know. So there is nothing wrong with Nigeria, but something is wrong with the way we run Nigeria. Come, the cucumber I love so much comes from Sokoto. The alubosa from there, even carrot. I was talking to my friend who sends me the things today. Each time we talk quite a lot. The kola nut they use in the east come from here. The yams, the big yams from the middle belt and from here too. Palm oil from the east, from the south, and so on. What do we not have? No, but as Koyama has pointed out when he was talking about the Congo, natural resources, abundant natural resources, do two things to a country. Either it makes the country exceptionally and extremely wealthy and successful, or they destroy that country. In Africa, it is the latter. The Congo is about the richest country in the world, especially the southeastern part of it. Every phone we use has a train of coltan. Every cell phone. The space shuttles have something they owe to the eastern part of the Congo. As Sagi Koyama said, the more they dig out those things, the poorer the Congo becomes. Yes. On the other hand, Japan has literally nothing. Look at what they've done. You know, this has led many of our people to some kind of ethnic, racial pessimism. Oh, something is wrong with the black man. There is nothing wrong with us. Why? I have taught students different continents of the world. You know, in fact, you give credit to the Nigerian student if they are able to produce all they produce. What they produce, from this, given the terrible situation that we have here. I tell my American students, I say, you people, you are pampered. A book comes out on Monday. By Wednesday, Thursday, it's on your table. I buy that book to teach my students in Nigeria. It is 415 pages. They have never seen it. And many of them spend their pocket money photocopying it. And they do that and they write beautiful essays. You know, there is nothing wrong with us, but a lot is wrong with our politics. You know, as Nkrumah said again, seek ye the political kingdom, and all other things shall be added unto thee. Nigeria, we need to be structured well, really structured well. What we have now is animosity. Each part is afraid of the other. The North is afraid. If the restructure may be that will put us at disadvantage. No. We have entered each other so much. I don't believe in all this break up Nigeria, do this or that. No. People who subscribe to Yoruba Nation don't always like to hear this from me. But, you know, my belief is, if we cannot make Nigeria work together, I don't see us making it work apart. The moment you declare your breakaway, whatever, is the differences we start. It's like a virus, which is affecting us at the national level. Those of us suffering from the thing, have made the pain to attenuate a little bit. But when you then create that little place, the virus will become bigger, will shoot up again. That was what killed Biafra. You know, how come it we don't learn from history? And I also say this: our universities, we need to sit up. Yes, some of our problems come from our educated elite. A university should be a university of people who think, not who subscribe to all kinds of superstitions. What I hear from some of my colleagues here shock me. You know, I was discussing with one of them the other time, a pastor who said, I was traveling from one city to another, and when halfway through, we discovered that the car stopped. When we checked, we saw that it had run out of fuel. That's the first part. Then what did he do? He said, I went on my knee and prayed unto the Lord, and the Lord told me, you go on. And then I asked him, but it has no petrol in it. He said, I say go on, and I obeyed the Lord. And we drove to that place. How many miles? Almost 200 miles. And my friend is a scientist. So I said, he said, yes. Yeah, that's it. I said, you too? No.
And you are teaching young people. And you are teaching.
That's what led to what that student said the other time, the one you asked. I said, what are you going to teach your students? Faith is faith, science is science. I respect religion. Oh no, as long as you don't come to me and tell me you will go to hell unless you believe in what I believe. You have a right to believe in what you want to believe. If it is a stone, fine. If it is whatever, fine. But don't, evangelism is violence. No. But believe intelligently. Jesus Christ, if Jesus Christ were alive today and he had a political party, I would be the first to register. 33 years on earth, look at what he did. He stood up and dismissed the Sadducees and the Pharisees because he argued. He had his own degree from the University of the Street. Those ones who were pompous ones who were going all over the place as if they had all the knowledge in this world. He would just lay them flat like that. And he never tolerated injustice. He was always on the side of the poor. So, where are the disciples today? They are taking care of their fleet of air jets. They're taking care of the universities. Their
private universities.
Yes, setting up all over the place. They're busy blackmailing the laity, that is the congregation. You must pay money to the Lord. I hope you remember, if you want your money to be found, whatever you give to the Lord is what the Lord will give back to you. If you give the Lord a penny, it's only 1 penny you get. And you will see people use the school fees of their kids to pay their tithes. Now they've condemned themselves to future to perfidy, and they've also
condemned their children.
Their children mortgage his future. No. THINK. Think. We need to think harder in this country. We were ruled by people who applied their intelligence. You know what it means to be number 10 down the street and control a whole empire? The British Empire was very efficient. Our country was better when they were there. That's a terrible thing for a colonial subject to say, but we have to face the fact. The deterioration we have here now. I met a former professor of chemistry or so in Bristol a couple of years ago. So I finished my reading and he came to me. Oh yeah, he said, he spoke Yoruba. I said, oh, I don't. He said, yeah, I spent 10 years in Nigeria. I was in the chemistry department. I said,
British.
British.
White British.
White British.
Okay.
Thank you. White British. I said, great. He said, yeah. I said, you haven't been there since then. He said, I have had 2 invitations, but I don't think I want to go from what I'm saying there because said, I may not be able to bear the loss. Yeah, it's true what they've done now. You know, Father Foley would wake up at 5 o'clock, go to his laboratory. Father Foley was white, was Catholic. Go to his laboratory work, look at the watch, go for mass. Finish mass, go back to the lab. No. That is what has led us here. The word belongs to people who work hard and who also think hard. One of my first Latin phrases was ora et labora, to work and to pray. Pray and work. In Nigeria, we pray. We don't work.
Thank you very much, sir. This has been a big pleasure.
I don't know when last I had this kind of interview.
But we will do it again and again.
Look at this man! When am I going to recover from this? An old man?
There's so much to learn from you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Shegun, it's a great pleasure meeting you.
Iṣẹ́ máa làdúrà ẹni àgbà tó mòye ẹ jọ̀wọ́ ẹ tọ́mọ sọ́dọ̀ òtítọ́ kan lè ṣeré láyé àníṣe yẹn làwúre gangan àgbà tó mòye ẹ jọ̀wọ́ ẹ kọ́mọ níwà gidi